Warning, the following program contains disturbing material that might be inappropriate for some viewers. Responsible guidance is advised.
This Reddit post from No Rules is unsettling. Not because it's loud or chaotic, but because of how eerie it is. It's about a series of strange clips from a Chinese account called Beanbag Adventure. The videos show an old underground shelter, but what's inside is even stranger. A still pool filled with thick, murky liquid. Floating in it are shapes. Some small, suspended like they're frozen in time. It doesn't look like a hasty cover-up. It looks intentional, like it's meant to keep something preserved. People couldn't help but think the worst. But some began to wonder, what if it wasn't about hiding something, but protecting it? There are signs pointing to preservation. Jars like those in museums remain arranged like they're meant to educate. But just when the video started to gain attention, the person who posted them disappeared. No more updates. Someone found out, and there were no rules how far a simple post could go. Back in November 2015, a Reddit user named Bangarang made a strange and unsettling post in the Sad Boys subreddit. He claimed he needed $700,000 by January 2016, or else he'd be in serious trouble with the mob. At first, people thought it was just some weird joke, or a reference to Young Lean's music, but then things got darker. When someone sarcastically suggested jumping off a bridge, Bangarang replied with something chilling. "They'll get to me before I can make any moves." He even shared a photo of men standing in the street, hinting that he was being watched. Bangarang later revealed he got in a physical altercation, which led to him owing the mob. Users like Pizzaman 2, 3, 4, 5 advised him, but Bangarang vanished from Reddit shortly after. It has been 9 years since, and there is no word from him or anyone that knew him. Bangarang simply disappeared. Do you think the mob got to him, or did he fail to scam people? In January 2021, Reddit user Pagan Princess 22 shared a memory from her childhood that still haunts her. Back in the late 90s, around age 5 or 6, she was rushed to an ER in Indiana after a nosebleed. While her mom stepped out, a woman walked in, wearing a scrub top with dogs but mismatched pants, and claimed she needed to draw blood. Without much thought, Princess 22 let her take 5 to 7 vials. Then, just as quickly, the woman rushed out when noises of people shouting could be heard. When the real doctor came in, he froze, then said something chilling. "She doesn't work here." He immediately ran after the mysterious woman, but the fake nurse was never found. Reddit users had theories. Maybe a mix-up or a confused childhood memory. One commenter even asked if she might have been adopted, but Pagan Princess 22 confirmed her birth certificate listed her known parents. Despite the guesses, one unsettling thought remained. Who was the woman? And was she selling blood of random people on the dark web? It's a story that hits like a punch to the gut, one that leaves you questioning trust and forgiveness. Known on Reddit as the Coconut Story, it's more than just disturbing, it's gut-wrenching. A woman shared how she left her twin daughters with her mother for one night. One of the girls had a rare but life-ending coconut allergy. The mother knew, but still used coconut oil on the girl's hair. When the toddler reacted, she gave her medicine, but didn't call for help. By morning, the inevitable had happened. She had passed away. The OP's life fell apart. To this day, her mother begs for forgiveness, but the answer never changes. "You can come see me when you bring my daughter with you." The Reddit thread erupted with outrage, many calling it purposeful narcissism, far from a forgivable mistake. Some stories on Reddit blur the line between creepy and downright unsettling. One post on Glitch in the Matrix, titled "I Am Losing My Mind," does exactly that. A college student shared how she came back from a short trip to find something impossible. The shared hallway closet, where she kept clothes and personal items, had transformed into a fully functional bathroom. Toilet, shower, tiles, the whole setup. Her roommate swore it had always been that way. Confused and shaken, she insisted it wasn't. Everything she had stored in that closet was just gone. No one believed her, and she started questioning her sanity. Then came a chilling update. Doctors found a brain tumor. After that, there was only silence. No more posts. The community was left haunted, not just by the bizarre glitch, but by the eerie realization that the scariest part might have been medical, not supernatural. It started with a quiet walk down an Austin trail. Nothing unusual until someone noticed something deeply unsettling. Stone crosses, lined up one after another, hidden among the trees. At first glance, they looked like old memorials or some kind of odd art installation. But then, one of the crosses revealed something more sinister: bones inside. The crosses were made from modern materials, metal and concrete, meaning they had been put up recently. Reddit users quickly pieced together a theory. It could be the work of Rami Zawaida, a man known in the area for erratic behavior, damaging property with a chainsaw, muttering to himself, and confronting neighbors. One resident even found lock-picking tools near their home. Despite being briefly arrested, he's already back, leaving people uneasy. One Redditor shared how he targeted them and their dog, calling them obscene names, even after 30 calls to 911. Now, what started as a creepy trail discovery has turned into a community on edge, fearing the next cross might show up closer to home. Sometimes, the worst decision of your life doesn't feel like one. At least, not at first. That's exactly what happened to a Redditor named Spontaneous H. He seemed to have it all. Master's degree, great job, a stable life, nothing wild, nothing reckless. But one day, out of sheer boredom, he made a choice that changed everything. One hit of heroin just once, just to see. Within 2 weeks, his world flipped. He couldn't stop. What began as a moment of curiosity became a downward spiral, using more, losing control, but still posting updates. Reddit watched his story unfold through heartbreak, hospital visits, and long silences. It was raw, unfiltered, and painfully real. Years later, he finally gave an update. He made it clean, grounded, healing. One comment captured the feeling best. Even if you've never been in that world, you've probably been on its edge. Sometimes it just takes one tiny step to change everything. Sometimes, reality hits harder than any story. This one isn't paranormal or mysterious. It's just an instant wake-up call about how little we know of what others are facing. A group of skilled tree workers were deep in the woods when an accidental incident left one of them in need of immediate medical help. Wasting no time, his friend put him in the car and sped toward the hospital. But the journey wasn't easy. Stuck in traffic, 2 drivers, completely unaware of the emergency, boxed him in, assuming he was just another reckless driver. They didn't know the now or never situation unfolding inside that car. By the time the police finally cleared the way, it was too late. One of the drivers, still convinced they'd done the right thing, stopped to complain about the speeding car, only to have the officer show her the man and his crew. So we don't know why someone is driving the way they are. It's best to give them the way. It can make all the difference. No one knows what someone has done in their past, yet all of us let strangers into our worlds. And that's exactly what happened to Reddit user 90day Beyonce. He met a guy named David at the gym, and they hit it off. One night, he invited David over for dinner, but when his wife walked in, everything fell apart. She froze, then screamed, collapsing in a panic. David wasn't just a gym buddy. He was the man who had held her hostage when she was just 9. David left and she was taken to the hospital, where she recovered. But on the day she was to be released, she left without telling her husband anything. He tried to contact her family, but they never told him where she is. Basically, they told him to stay away, and the fact he will never see her again. Now he's left alone, burdened by guilt, even though it's not his fault. It started like any other story. A man living a peaceful, happy life. He had it all. A loving wife, 2 wonderful kids, and a home filled with laughter. Days passed, blending into years, and everything felt just right. One evening, while sitting in his cozy living room, something caught his eye. A lamp. Simple, unassuming, but something about it felt wrong. He couldn't explain it. But the more he looked, the more uneasy he felt. The lamp seemed out of place, like it didn't belong in his perfect world. He couldn't shake the feeling. Days turned strange. The world around him began to change, and he couldn't figure out why. Then, reality shattered. The truth hit like a punch. None of it was real. 10 years of love and happiness, just a dream. He woke up in the real world, surrounded by strangers. His dream family gone. Reddit users were stunned by the story. One commented, "Dear God, that's haunting." Another wrote, "Sorry for your loss." Even if it wasn't real, the story still haunts people to this day. Not every disturbing Reddit story is about ghosts or glitches. Sometimes the scariest ones are about people quietly carrying their own pain. One Reddit user, Jason in Hell, shared a story that wasn't dramatic or loud. It just hurt. He found out his wife had been involved with someone else, not just any stranger, a neighbor. And it wasn't just a one-time mistake. It was a whole connection. Instead of leaving, he stayed. For the kids. For stability. But inside, he's stuck. He can't help but replay messages, memories, the moment his world changed. On the outside, life goes on. But in his mind, trust is gone, replaced by looping thoughts and a silence that feels endless. One comment summed it up. It's like your mind is stuck on repeat. That constant what if just won't stop. It's exhausting. The only monster is his wife. Just one person holding too much pain while the world keeps moving, unaware. Ever looked back at a photo and felt your stomach drop? Sometimes the scariest part isn't what you see, it's what you didn't notice. 3 friends were hiking near a quiet waterfall, a bit off the main path. They spotted someone, a woman, barely moving and alone. Turns out she'd been stranded there overnight, unable to call for help. Her friend had tried to get assistance, but didn't make it far. The creepy part? Earlier that day, those same hikers had snapped a few pictures of the area. Later, while scrolling through their photos, they noticed her. She was in the background, lying there the whole time, completely unnoticed. One commenter summed it up perfectly. Imagine seeing that photo weeks later, realizing someone was there the whole time, just out of frame, waiting. It's chilling to think how easy it is to miss something or someone so important, so close. It was just supposed to be another night of cartoons. On December 14th, 2017, Reddit user She's Such a Riot shared a memory that still haunts them. Years earlier, at 16, they came home late and flipped on Nickelodeon. But instead of colorful animations, they saw something eerie. Humans walking in single file toward giant hamster wheels. Some were already inside, trudging mindlessly like programmed machines. The unsettling background noise made it even creepier. After a few loops of the bizarre scene, they switched the channel and SpongeBob was playing like nothing happened. Confused, they flipped through more channels, but found nothing unusual. Later, they searched the internet for any mention of the clip, but found nothing. Redditors speculated it might have been a broadcast glitch, like the Max Headroom incident, but that didn't make sense for a kid's channel. Others mentioned old MacBook commercials with similar visuals, but none of these theories really fit, leaving the mystery unsolved. Reddit user Myra shared a story so unsettling, it leaves you questioning your own room. When she first moved into her apartment, she stepped out to get the mail, the door locking behind her. Once back inside, she sat on her bed, chatting with her boyfriend and sorting through letters. At some point, her phone slipped under the bed. Reaching down to grab it, she froze. There was a man under her bed, hiding just below her. The only thing she saw were his round, lifeless white eyes. Keeping calm, she acted like nothing was wrong, excused herself to the bathroom, and climbed out the window. When the police arrived, they found the man still in her room, waiting by the door, holding a knife. Turned out, he was a disturbed homeless man who had slipped inside while she was outside. One commenter, "Late your snack," said it best. "I still check under my bed, and I'm 30. Also, keep my feet covered, just in case." A man named Agar Hassan shared his version of events about his ex, Melinda Vasiliev. In a long, detailed message, he explained how a heated argument spiraled out of control. He even posted screenshots of their final texts and shared happy photos of them together, as if to soften his actions and paint himself as a victim of a messy breakup. but readers quickly saw through it. The way he spun the story, downplaying his role, and shifting blame made it feel more like a twisted confession than an honest recount. Authorities later confirmed there had been serious issues between them before that night. One commenter, Avid Traveler 123, summed it up. "I find this terrifying because it happened in a city really close to mine. People can be manipulated so easily. Sometimes, the scariest stories aren't about monsters or ghosts. They're about real people trying to justify the unthinkable." A Redditor living on a quiet farm just outside town stumbled onto something seriously weird. Over 30 Wi-Fi networks suddenly showing up on his property. The odd part? They all seem to come from under a random concrete pad. Intrigued, he used a Wi-Fi analyzer app to investigate. The signals were weak, but peaked right at the center of the pad. If they moved even a little, the signal strength dropped. Plus, the network names kept changing every few minutes, covering every channel in the 2.4 gigahertz range. Not stopping there, he pulled out a thermal camera. One spot on the pad looked warmer than the rest. Curious, the Redditor started drilling small holes to check it out, and only the warm spot drained water, like there was a hollow space underneath. He could not find out why these routers were there. Do you have any ideas? This female Reddit user once shared a chilling encounter from 6 years ago while on a solo cross-country trip. Running hours late due to bad weather, she pulled into a rundown motel off Route 250 in Virginia. The place felt off from the start. The check-in guy acted strange. Despite the red flags, she paid and went to her room, only to find it filthy, crawling with bed bugs and cockroaches. Unsettled, she decided to sleep in her SUV instead. Around 3 a.m., she was startled awake by voices. The motel guy was on the phone, then walked to her room, unlocked the door, and slipped inside. A moment later, he emerged angrily with another man. To her horror, they approached her SUV, tried the door handle, and peered inside, staying completely still. She managed to remain hidden. Eventually, the men left, and she drove off. Not long after, the motel shut down. She doesn't even want to imagine what would have happened if she had stayed in that room. 6 years ago, a Reddit user shared a story from when she was 22, living with a roommate and juggling school. One evening, while her roommate was out clubbing, she decided to relax at home. Around 10 p.m., she took a quick trip to a gas station for snacks and noticed 3 guys hanging around, staring at her as she left. The uneasy feeling stuck with her, but things took a dark turn when she realized they were following her home. Her anxiety spiked as they kept tailing her, even swerving closer. Desperate, she called her sister's husband, Josh, for help and headed to her sister's house. But when she arrived, it was dark. The guys blocked her in, and one even tried to open her car door. Just as fear took over, Josh appeared from behind the house, calmly ordering them to leave. The guys fled, and the police couldn't catch them without a license plate number. Josh was hailed as a hero by Reddit users, and she couldn't agree more. This happened 7 years ago, when a Reddit user posted on legal advice about a deeply unsettling situation involving her boyfriend, a doctor in North Texas. It started with small things, feeling unusually tired and stressed, then experiencing memory lapses. She brushed it off at first, but things got stranger. She began waking up without recalling the night before, sometimes finding odd marks on her body. Initially, she thought it was because of drinking, but then it happened even on sober nights. When she tried to end the relationship, somehow, she found herself back with him a few days later, unsure how it even happened. Disturbingly, she also noticed symptoms that didn't make sense, sparking even more concern. Desperate and anxious, she finally decided to leave. The situation was affecting her work and her mental state. Seeking advice, she asked if blood tests could reveal anything and how to approach the police without being dismissed. The whole situation is mysterious indeed. One night, a Redditor and her boyfriend went to bed early. As she was drifting off, a strange feeling crept over her, like someone was watching them. Looking up, she saw a shadowy, 3-dimensional figure on the ceiling, completely out of reach. At first, her boyfriend didn't believe her until he saw it too. They left a lamp on, hoping it was just a trick of the light, but that's when things took a bizarre turn. Suddenly, she found herself running through the house, heart pounding, while her boyfriend was shouting from another room. Somehow, the clock had reset, the lamp was off, and 6 hours had vanished without a trace. Later, they realized they both had the same dream. Dark black and white figures just staring at them. The strangest part? None of the figures had mouths. To this day, they can't explain those lost hours or the terrifying images they saw. Back in 2011, a Reddit account named A858 started posting bizarre strings of letters and numbers on a subreddit named after it. At first, no one really cared. Just random code, right? But when some users realized it might be encrypted, things took a turn. A dedicated subreddit, Solving A858, popped up, where tech students and puzzle enthusiasts teamed up to crack the code. A few messages got decoded, revealing things like American Standard Code for Information Interchange Art of Stonehenge and random book excerpts. But most of the strings? Still a complete mystery. In 2015, the person behind A858 finally broke their silence during an Ask Me Anything discussion, but only spoke in riddles. When asked what it all meant, they cryptically replied, "We cannot disclose the purpose. A858 will end when the purpose is disclosed or discovered." To this day, no one knows who created it, what it means, or why it began. In 2015, Reddit user R. Bradbury1920 shared a story that sent chills through the internet. He noticed mysterious post-it notes appearing around his apartment, reminders he swore he didn't write. One note was especially creepy. "Our landlord isn't letting me talk to you, but it's important we do." Confused and freaked out, he started digging for answers. That's when a commenter named Kakerlak dropped a bombshell theory: carbon monoxide poisoning. Bradbury's bedroom had no windows and sat above a parking garage, a perfect setup for carbon monoxide buildup. When he checked, his CO detector was still unpacked. Plugging it in revealed dangerously high levels, explaining his hallucinations and memory gaps. But the weirdest part? The handwriting on the notes looked just like his landlord's, or maybe his own, blurred by the effects of poisoning. One user summed it up perfectly: Kakerlak just saved your life. On October 4th, 2010, Reddit user Ked the Gypsy dropped a jaw-dropping post. Does this mean the FBI is after us? He discovered a chunky, odd device under his friend's car, something that looked like either a tracker or, as one stoned roommate guessed, a bomb. The internet went wild. One commenter nailed it. It was a Guardian ST-820 GPS tracker, equipment usually only used by military or law enforcement. 2 days later, FBI agents knocked on the door, demanding their tracker back. Turns out, his friend Yer, the son of a late Muslim community leader, had been on federal watch lists for years. The agents even knew his favorite restaurants and travel plans. What started as a paranoid post revealed a real FBI operation and sparked heated debates about privacy and surveillance. Maybe next time you joke about being watched, think twice. For some, their entire lives revolve around someone else's hope. That's what happened to Reddit user Tom C. Throwaway 009373. His sister had been born with health issues, needing constant care. Their mom was always chasing a miracle that never came, and because of that, Tom's world became incredibly small. No friends, no freedom, no dreams of his own. One day, the weight of it all broke him. He finally spoke up, telling his mom how their lives had been put on hold, how he'd sacrificed his own future just to keep the hope alive. The confrontation was raw and painful. Then, everything shifted. His mom's own struggles caught up with her, and Tom was left picking up the pieces, reconnecting with a father who had moved on, and trying to figure out his own path forward. When everything changes in an instant, it leaves you wondering how much of your life was ever really yours. Now it is time for the most disturbing thread of them all. On January 21st, 2016, a Reddit thread titled, "To those who have accidentally hurt someone, what went wrong?" got filled with responses, some clearly fake, but a few bone-chillingly real. Though the post was eventually deleted, backups captured stories that left people uneasy. One post stood out. A user shared a childhood memory from the 1980s. A group of kids had a secret spot on a massive dirt cliff where they hung out away from adults. One day, they found a neighborhood boy, someone who didn't fit in, sitting there. When they told him to leave, he refused and started throwing dirt and sticks. The group charged up the cliff, and in the chaos, the boy slipped and fell. Terrified, the kids saw him lying at the bottom, barely moving. Instead of helping, they panicked and ran home, never speaking of it again. Years later, in the comments, someone asked a haunting question. Was it Scott Kitchell? He went missing in 1988 in St. Charles, Missouri. The only way someone could know this is either he is one of those friends or someone witnessed it. But the scariest of them all is, what if it's Scott Kitchell itself? He was just 9 when he disappeared after heading to a wooded area to play. A storm hit that night, derailing search efforts. He was never found. After the chilling connection, the Reddit thread vanished. The user's account was deleted. No one knows for sure, and that's what makes it so unsettling.